This Week in Tech, Episode 4, May 8th, 2005.
The BBC would like to announce that the next scene is not considered suitable for family viewing.
And it looks as though we're in for a splendid afternoon sport on this, the 127th upper-class TWiT of the Year show.
And now for something completely different.
We are all Twitch now.
What a great TWiT!
Excellent. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the Mother's Day edition of TWiT, This Week in Technology, and with me the head Twits, Kevin Rose, Patrick Norton, Robert Heron. Yoshi's in the ante-room trying to get his system working. Today we're using TeamSpeak to talk, and I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll try it. If it works well, we might be able to take live calls. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, Leo.
Why aren't you with your mothers?
My mother's 2,700 miles away.
I tried Dan Hoover.
Kevin's just evil.
We tried to get Dan.
Made the phone call.
We tried to get Fufu to join us, and he was on I am, and I started typing at him, and it came back. This is not Dan. It's Dan's mother. So I guess Dan is with his mother right now. Roger Chang also had to beg off today because he's with his mom. I don't know what Dvorak's excuse is, but anyway, the four of us are here, and that's all that matters. Was it a good week for you guys?
Dvorak has a mother.
Everyone has a mom somewhere, even Dvorak. We've got lots of questions people have been sending in to thisweekintech.com. Let me give you some new email addresses as long as we're talking here. Of course, the site is up, thisweekintech.com, and the email address is for questions at thisweekintech.com. You can send us your logo ideas. We're still collecting those at logos at thisweekintech.com. And, of course, I'm Leo at thisweekintech.com, and they're all who they are at thisweekintech.com. Hey, we want to thank all of you who have subscribed, by the way, and I'm very happy to say that we had our 1,000th subscriber in less than a week. 1,000th subscriber was on Saturday, and it was Joseph Jan of San Diego, California. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. And we thought we'd honor Joseph as our 1,000th. We're going to give him a total BitHead headphone amp from Headroom. The great guys at Headroom have donated a number of these for us. You use these BitHead amps, I know, before, Patrick. I love them. This is their new one. It has a USB connector, so you can use it with your computer as well as your iPod. It's battery powered, but also can be powered by the USB connector. $200 value. Joseph, congratulations, and thank you for subscribing. We'll have many more subscriber benefits to come. If you would like to subscribe to the podcast, it's free. You're getting it right now for free. It always will be free. We just don't want to take advertising. So if you feel like you'd like to support that effort, $2 a month, less than a gallon of gas a month, just go to twit.tv or thisweekintech.com and push one of those magic buttons. We've got a $2 level, a $20 a year, or just donate anything. And everybody who donates is automatically a member of the TWiT website and eligible for various TWiT giveaways. So, did you have a good week, Kevin Rose? You still working on that show?
Yeah, still working on the show. It was a pretty good week, pretty relaxing. Came across some pretty interesting news articles, though, I wanted to bring to your guys' attention.
What's happening?
First one I thought was really interesting was the spyware. Did you guys happen to see this about the Symantec released a study based on spyware firms are now targeting children?
How do they know they're targeting children? I don't understand. What do you mean they're doing it on children's websites, or?
No, it's very young.
Yeah, so what they've done is... No.
I like 6-year-olds.
No, they took a few different PCs up there and they put them out on the web, and they're allowing. They basically went to 5 or 6 different websites that were aimed at kids, and they clicked around like any kid would, different links, various different pop-ups, and after just a few hours, they had 359 different pieces of adware that were installed.
Now, I take
it that was using Internet Explorer.
Yeah, definitely. I have a feeling most of the stuff probably comes through a lot of the ActiveX, pop-ups that you see that try to install on your machine.
Well, the problem is kids, I know this is true of my kids, they just click yes, yes, yes. Henry came in this morning and said, Dad, I won $100,000. I said, Henry, you didn't win $100,000. That's a scam. He said, no, I did. It said I did. How do you know I didn't? And how do you explain that to a kid? No, you didn't. They're ripping you off.
Is this spyware that's targeted as children, or is it just the same spyware you find everywhere else that they're hosting on children? I mean, I don't know if this is particularly new, because it seems like a lot of the spyware vendors, for lack of a less charitable phrase I can say without using expletives, but it seems like they post it on any server they can for distribution.
Right. Well, and also self-serving.
Because the thing here is that the reason that they're going after kids is that when the kids are more apt to click on this stuff without having to, think about it or ask a friend or something like that.
And they're getting it on mom and dad's computer through the kid. That's the whole point, is that this is a way to get to mom and dad's computer. I don't know if they want the kids. It's just easier to
right.
Yeah, but I've cleared off 2 people's systems in the last month. One of them had like 200 pieces of spyware. They had no idea what they were getting into, and their machine basically wasn't running. And I just cleared another machine last week, and had a bunch of really nasty viruses they picked up over worms. Actually, they picked up off of a peer-to-peer trading site. And the other thing was just a ton of spyware, and it was being run by adults that were running anti-spyware. They just hadn't updated it in 8.5 months.
Right. Well, here's the question. Is Kazaa spyware or not? Microsoft's anti-spyware program gives you a warning. Now, of course, Kazaa by itself is not spyware, but it's a conduit.
Right.
So is it...
Well, it's adware, though.
It is adware.
P2P applications, I feel, are just, they're made for moving files around. What those files are, it could be anything.
Player left.
And if you're going to be using those applications, you have to take a certain precaution to, take a look at the file you just downloaded and really carefully read any, hopefully, hidden somewhere in the EULA, they'll have the saying, yes, we are going to install something or not. But some websites
that's the thing,
create crafted dialogues, though, that look so suspiciously. You have to hit cancel when you normally would hit OK on a certain button. And those type of deceptive pop-ups are just some of the worst.
Well, that's what Symantec was saying right here. They said that kids are targeted because they're very easy to manipulate, and they see the video game cheat codes, they click on stuff like that, and then all of a sudden they have spyware that is in, not really going after the targeted kids, but it's popping up ads from mom and dad later when they get on the machine.
Yeah, they're going after the adults. Okay. Hey, I got something scary for you if you're a Tiger user, as I know you are a new Tiger user, Kevin. Did you see this article? Yes. Malicious applets can install dashboard widgets on Tiger, malicious web pages. You can go there and they'll install these new dashboard widgets that could be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Safari on OS 10.
It's a little scary. I mean, I've been saying for a long time, you don't have to worry about Macintosh. You're safe. But this is a huge hole that Apple just basically installed on everybody's system. If you go, there's a link on Slashdot. Stefan.com/widgets/Zaptastic. If you go there on a Macintosh, it installs a widget. It just did it on my system. And the thing is, the way widgets work,
it's pretty.
They are installed automatically. Now this one's not malicious, but it's a good demonstration of the fact that it works.
Right. Have you read the essay?
Say again?
Have you read the essay that's up on the website that installs the widget?
The Zaptastic blueprint for widget of mass destruction?
Skip aside the Bainbridge and the Oppenheimer quotes from the Trinity test. But he's basically pointing out that, this has opened up, the first time it's really opened up a really nasty security hole in OS 10.
Yeah, I think it's really...
Is it really nasty, though? Because I know with some of these other different widget programs like Confabulator, it was just a variation of JavaScript, right? I mean, can it really do that much damage?
Yes, of course.
Well, he says it can't do... he's saying the widgets can't do much damage because they're sandboxed, but he goes, what's interesting is you can't remove the widget once it's installed. There's no way, according to Apple, you cannot remove it. There's no way to remove a widget from the widget bar or change their order.
So what if this widget, the icon of it is, a casino or a porn site, and you click on it and it brings you to the porn site? I mean, that's spyware. That's exactly what's happening on the Windows side. It's spyware. So I think this is, in fact, an exploit that is something significant that shouldn't be ignored. I think Apple's got to fix it. And it's kind of disappointing that it exists. I've got now green zap all over my desktop. I don't want it.
Well, you can if you can find your library /widgets, you can delete the widget you don't want in there.
Right. Yeah, but you gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, that seems like an awfully easy exploit too. I think that's what makes it really scary.
I went to the website.
Right.
I didn't click anything. I'm just sitting on the website and the widget installs. That's a very scary exploit. I think that's a real problem.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is
like a rotating hard drive that just shows it being deleted, even though nothing's really happening, but just totally frightening.
There you go. There you go. Right there. Or exactly. So I think that this it's too bad because Apple has up to now been pretty good about protecting its users, and this hole is not. I think that's a bad thing. That's the one advantage Apple had against Windows was that they had this kind of secure environment, and now it's not there anymore.
Did Apple actually buy the widget technology or that type of interface from the confabulator folks?
No, in fact, that's a point of
they developed on their end.
Yeah, that's a bone of contention from the confabulator folks. They were kind of bitter about it. Arlo Rose, remember we had him on the screensavers. He made a little looking Leo widget, and I love confabulator. They made a Windows version, and it's just a great product. Apple stole it basically.
I'm using it right now.
Yeah, and Dashboard is confabulator. Frankly, I don't think it's as good as confabulator, but it's JavaScript. It's very similar in the construction and the overall idea. And stole is such a harsh word. All right, let me not use the word stole because that's accusing them of something that could be, not exactly. I don't want to get sued for libel on our third podcast, but.
No, I hear you.
And you don't want to get your book taken out of the Apple
striking.
They basically borrowed a number of things. In a way, that's good. Isn't that what happens with operating system development? Don't you think Microsoft's now looking at Tiger saying, what can we put in Longhorn?
I think Microsoft at this point is trying to figure out how can we finish Longhorn and ship it because they've just been slashing and burning features. They've been cutting features out of Longhorn at this point. It's still forever and a day away.
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
I'd like to see Microsoft at some point just create an interface for their operating system that lets you customize it to your heart's content very easily, where you don't have to download third-party apps to make it, give it the flavor you like in particular.
A couple of Google stories.
It was the original Plus packs.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. $40 more, and you can have a great screensaver of fish.
There's nothing wrong with the farming ones.
It makes you feel right at home, doesn't it, Patrick? Hey, did you guys know there's a couple of big Google stories in the news? One, Google was down yesterday for about 4 hours, and for a while it was being referred.
Really? I saw that.
It was being referred to a site, Sogo site, which is apparently a New York marketing firm that has Google.net, I think, or no, Google.com.net, I think they own. Google says it wasn't a hack, it was a DNS error, but I was shocked. I mean, to go to Google and get a 404 is shocking, don't you think?
That's pretty scary.
I felt like I couldn't, I felt debilitated. I can't use the net. It just showed Google has become so important to using it. I didn't think of going to MSN search or Yahoo. I left. So I went and did something else.
That always makes me think of when you type in the ping command. It's like you ping. It used to be Yahoo.com, and now eventually I see all the IT guys using ping Google.com.
Are they pinging Google now? Because I still ping Yahoo. I still ping Yahoo. Who here pings Yahoo? Who pings Google?
I ping Google.
Robert's ahead of the pack.
Yeah, one or the other.
Well, now
anything I know that's working, and it surprises me that Google would ever go down. So.
Has anybody tried the new Google Web Accelerator?
With all the stories. I've tried it. I don't know. They've run into a lot of issues that I've heard of. They pulled it from Google. You can't download it any longer.
Oh, did they?
Do that?
Well, I'll tell you, my initial reaction was it doesn't seem to speed things up much, and I can no longer edit my wiki. I can no longer edit my web page. The caching screwed up things, apparently saving from a web page.
Did you hear about the story about some people were logging into other people's user accounts because it was caching them already being logged in?
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Well, it was a good idea, and it's
dead. Pretty scary.
It's dead now. And privacy advocates, of course, worried about the whole notion of saving web pages on the Google servers. And, it's something that makes sense maybe for your internet service provider to do, to cache web pages, because you have a direct connect to them. I'm not sure I understood the value of having Google do it. Are their servers so much faster that we're going to benefit?
Oh, please. Just give me a 20 megabit connection.
It needs to be done at a certain level.
Yeah.
Anything else you want?
It's really tricky, too.
Faster internet, cheaper.
Yeah. Well, we pay more in this country than
web accelerator technology.
We pay more now for internet access in this country than almost any other country. Well, no, that's not true. Most industrial nations. Oddly enough, for a long time we had the deal, but now it's gotten so cheap in most other nations in the West that we're paying more than most.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Well, here's the hoping the cell companies kick in and deploy their high-speed wireless networks so we can eventually, or maybe Wi-Fi will just take everything over.
Wi-Fi is not going to take everything over because you still need a DSL or a cable connection at the end. I mean, it's interesting because, I've been thinking a lot about this because of we're launching a new WiMAX site at extremetech.com, but it's interesting because WiMAX has all this potential, at least for metropolitan areas, if it ever ships, and it's the idea of just, better than cable or DSL speeds, wireless, no line of sight issues, but it still comes down to, it'd be nice if the phone companies get it, but the phone companies can't decide how much they want to charge everybody. They're either going to charge you $80 a month to access it over your phone, or they're going to charge you nothing for, 3G or 4G bandwidth. You know what I mean? It's like they can't decide on how much money they want to make.
I've just checked the Google Web Accelerator site. It says we have currently reached our maximum capacity of users and are actively working to increase the number of users we can support. So the Web Accelerator is ostensibly still up, but they've maxed out. That's their claim. We can't support any more
Well, that's
users.
what they say. I don't know.
Can't use anymore. Hey, I saw that Seattle is putting Speakeasy.
There's a finite number of servers for it.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point. I don't understand why they're even getting in this business. What is the percentage for Google? To go back to the WiMAX thing, I saw that the Speakeasy, which is a big Seattle internet service provider, says they're putting WiMAX on the Space Needle.
They're putting pre-WiMAX on the Space Needle, and actually a week or two ago, Intel was playing around with pre-WiMAX or some of their WiMAX technology on the stratosphere in Vegas, and claiming they were covering 500 square miles off of that.
Holy cow!
I mean, the WiMAX is a huge. Well, it's an interesting idea, and I'm kind of looking forward to getting a chance to talk to some of the geeks that are involved running it, because if you can really cover. I mean, San Francisco is kind of a wireless nightmare, right? Because all the hills and nooks and crannies. But the idea is that, it's going to be microwave, it's going to be non-line of sight, you're going to be able to go through building walls. They're it's going to roll out in static, non-moving locations first, fixed locations, as a competitor to cable and DSL, which is a really nice way of not having to fight with the phone company and not having to deal with the cable company. Which has a certain definite attraction to me.
What bugs me though is unfortunately it's just another high-speed internet for the urban dweller who already has, in most cases, at least two choices. Right. And what it really could be used in rural areas to wire people who are completely disenfranchised. The best they can do is a 28.8 modem.
WiMAX could be used to cover rural areas. I mean, because it's going to be concentrated in basically town, right? And town's a lot smaller than the top 100 metropolitan markets. But what's interesting, what's much more threatening is what Verizon started in Pennsylvania, which is getting state legislatures passing laws that prevent local communities from establishing their own ISPs, which is what Philadelphia was doing, because most of Philadelphia doesn't have access to broadband, and they started a project to bring municipal wireless, and Verizon went nuts and ended up getting a law passed in the state legislature in Pennsylvania preventing any other community in Pennsylvania from doing that.
Was it just Verizon?
States have followed suit.
Was it just Verizon? Because isn't Philadelphia the home of Comcast? And you'd think they would have wired the damn town.
Verizon was the big push behind that effort.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, and of course they grandfathered in Philadelphia, but the rest of Pennsylvania's out of luck, and I think that's terrible, criminal. People ought to go up and be up in arms over that. What else is on the top of your mind, Robert Heron? What are you thinking about these days?
Well, I was just thinking about when you're talking about the wireless networking. I was wondering why more networking companies aren't offering some sort of default mesh technology within the routers they sell. That's so you could at least say, by default it'll sacrifice, say, 20% of my bandwidth to connect to another one that would further this network and help perpetuate
What are you, some kind of commie? You're a communist, Robert. Why should I share my bandwidth with my neighbors? Screw them.
No. Totally voluntary. Like, I leave mine wide open.
I do,
and
too.
I hope people use it. But
I do, too. I think that, but I
download all my porn.
Hey, I remember you, Patrick, saying that Mesh was problematic, that it wasn't as wonderful as everybody's been saying.
Well, Mesh has changed a lot in the last 2 years because Mesh has gone from like the Mesh routers we were looking at were open source based routers that were primarily being used in England to do actually exactly what you were just talking about, Robert, is to extend the network to places where people couldn't get it. There's a lot of overhead, and there was a lot of mostly there's just a lot of overhead, and you could really get your bandwidth hammered on if you happen to be the last connection to broadband standing. But there's mesh networks that start to show up everywhere.
Huge. I was going to say, it also seems that it's proprietary whenever you come across any mesh technology. It's our particular formula of how we want to do it, and we're not going to make it compatible with anything else. So hopefully we'll see an open source push behind that.
Well, partially mesh is mostly showing up in low latency environments. Like if you look at Zigbee, where you're talking about low speed, low latency, i.e. high latency. When you don't care about latency, like you're turning on all the lights in an office building or waiting for the temperature to be sent back from a remote sensor, and that's what Zigbee's doing and a couple other competing technologies. The mesh works out really great because it's healing, it's self-configuring, it monitors itself. It can be incredibly low power, but when you're talking about broadband speeds, mesh gets really complicated, especially if you're trying to keep the latency down.
I thought there was a SourceForge project, actually, now that I'm thinking about this a little more, where they had a list of firmware upgradable routers where you could actually go ahead and enable programs within the router itself, run a small Linux app, basically, that would enable a mesh technology in several of the popular just off-the-shelf routers, and I'm trying to remember. I should look that up next time. But
I know what you're talking about, and actually there was also a really cool firmware that allowed you to create your own hotspot, too. Remember that? If you put that in a link system, you have a little hotspot. Yeah. This is something you might like, Patrick. Somebody's come up with a Wi-Fi surfboard. I think
Becky demonstrated that
maybe she did. I don't know. It's from England, and you have to have a base station on the beach. Maybe it would support WiMAX. I don't know. Maybe it's mesh.
I saw this one where it's got like the browser embedded in the face and the LCD interface of the surfboard.
Exactly. Intel built it. They're showing it off. They're going to show it off at the Ocean Fest on 18th of June in Devon, England. So, but is there much surfing in North Devon? Apparently there is. It's the UK's surfer paradise. I can't imagine it's much of a paradise, but okay. Maybe some of our...
It's kind of like surfing in Northern California or Oregon. It's cold.
It is cold. Wetsuit is required. Any other stories before we get to our questions from our listeners? Oh, I got one.
Hi, guys. There's about 55 days left until the broadcast flag comes into play. I was wondering what your opinions are of the broadcast flag and how that's going to play out in the industry and for consumers like me.
The broadcast flag. It's over. The broadcast flag is dead.
Yeah.
Well, is the FCC going to appeal that decision?
You bet. I'm sure they're going all the way to the Supreme Court. You don't think so? You think they'll lie down?
Not at all. They want to outlaw every piece of hardware that's been sold. I guess it wouldn't outlaw what you currently own, but suddenly every broadcast, every receiver out there that could accept, say, an over-the-air HD signal, you're going to suddenly make that illegal to even own or resell in some way.
But you have to put, unless it has copy protection. Unless it has copy protection built in, it has to have the broadcast flag, or it's illegal.
Right, but everything up to this point, especially on the PC side, just simply ignores the broadcast flag. Right. Ignores it outright. So, I just think the FCC says, how can we possibly go back at this point after, we've let it out of the box?
Well, just between us kids, when we had Michael Powell, the former chairman of the FCC, on the Screensavers about a year ago, he said, just between you and me, we didn't have any choice. We had to do it. The movie companies were asking for a lot more. He said, but just between you and me, Leo, this will never stand. And I don't know whether he knew that the courts would throw it out or he thought it would be hacked. But he felt like it wasn't anything to worry about even then, because it wasn't going to get implemented. So maybe he was prescient. Maybe he knew this would happen. And maybe the FCC doesn't really have the will. Maybe they're glad to see this happen in there. And, of course, the Motion Picture Association of America immediately responded saying, well, that's it. We're not going to put any good movies on HDTV broadcast. You can say goodbye to that. We're taking our ball and go home. Yeah, well, that's true. That's it. We're through. You know, I don't care how much money you throw at us. How much?
I would hope
Oh, well, never mind.
I would hope. It sounds like the FCC might have actually talked to a nonpartisan video engineer, broadcast engineer, who said, look, no matter what you come up with, at some point it will be hacked. Right. And especially on the PC side of things, you will always be able to redirect that output to either a different a full-blown port, like something like DVI, or through FireWire, or it's just privately, when I was in the Cable Industry Association meeting a couple of weeks ago, one of the engineers on the download just said, you know what, even Microsoft has fully acknowledged that every piece of video technology they have out there can be cracked, and they expect it not simply if, but when. So
look how fast Bunny cracked the Xbox.
I mean, make better content and make it cheaper for everyone.
Yeah, I agree.
And it seems like they're going about the wrong way. This, I mean, if you think that I'm seriously considering canceling my cable altogether, because with RSS wrapping all these BitTorrent files, I can subscribe to different channels, tell it the content that I want, and I have my own little built-in TiVo right on my PC, and Azarez just goes out and downloads everything for me automatically.
Who was it? Was it Battlestar Galactica that they started offering BitTorrents of their show like the day after the show aired, or maybe even the day before the show aired? Somebody's doing that.
Yeah, they did.
I think that's amazing.
Really cool. But you know what? I prefer, honestly, downloading shows from overseas, like especially the broadcasts out of Europe, and in particular England, because they don't use all of those pop-up graphics during a broadcast. Now that people are channel skipping through the commercials, commercial skipping through their favorite programs, they're now introducing new forms of advertising while you're actually watching the show itself, where you have the bottom third, something going up the right-hand side that just totally takes me out of the moment when I'm watching my favorite shows. And if I have to go overseas to download a relatively clean-looking version of that show, so be it.
I think that it's the beginning of the end, frankly, for broadcast media, between the podcasts and MP3 players killing radio, BitTorrents killing television. The question is somebody who's going to continue to make premium content, expensive things, if they can't make the money back? I mean, how do they make the money back?
It should all be premium. I like it. I like having no advertising. I'll pay for it if there's no advertising. I mean, I paid for cable. I paid for my 70, 80, 150 channels, and I still am bombarded with advertising left and right, to the point where I'm trying to actively skip it using every piece of technology I can. Yeah. And it's frustrating.
Well, you know, funny,
I see no end to it.
You're absolutely right, though, Robert. I think it's going to go to like you just choose the content that you want at the time. You know, you'll buy to certain channels or the certain types of content that you want. And, you know, it works that way already. If you take a look at the way that BitTorrent's working, I can download a file before it even airs on the West Coast. It will have aired on the East Coast. Someone will BitTorrent, put it online, I'll download it, have it, and be able to watch it in HD before it even broadcasts out here on the West Coast, which is awesome.
Take Battlestar Galactica. That broadcasted in Europe about 3 months before it came here, so I could actually cheat and get the whole season ahead of time in HD, encoded perfectly.
Right.
Yes.
With no commercial interruptions, no weird lower third graphics. And
how big are those files? Yeah. If they're HD, are they DivX, and how big are they?
The current goal right now, everyone is shooting at 350 megabytes per hour-long show, so you can put 2 hours on a single CD, which, I'll be honest, they're using NPass encoding, multiple pass encodes, and they make them look beautiful.
Isn't that
They do a really, really good job.
So you're not sacrificing quality by doing
with that relative file system. My biggest complaint, though, this goes to TV, goes to DVD, and everything. They just simply don't offer an option to not have that additional advertising. I would honestly pay a little bit more to avoid all that. I mean, I'd give the profit straight to whoever the provider is.
Well, that's what we're doing. This is the experiment that we're trying. Are people willing to hear what we have to say and pay a little bit? We're giving it for free, but asking them to pay a little bit. And so far, I've been very gratified by the response. It's certainly not 100%. It's probably 1 in 100. But those 1 in 100 are supporting the show. I think that's great.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, Yoshi is...
the other 99.
That's actually...
Huh?
Is he back?
Yeah, I think Yoshi's back.
Time to hop in there. Yeah, I think we got it fixed.
Yay! Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, guys.
It's the mod master himself. What you been up to these days, Yoshi? We miss you.
I've missed you guys, too. Tons of stuff. I've been up to a lot. I've been doing a little bit of modding. Been trying to get light up. That's been taking over in a day. I did that stuff with those guys from the Shadows. I've done a couple more things. I helped them out with basically the range testing and all that for that first episode, and for this next one we're going to have coming up, I did some mod for it. Doing stuff like that for fun. I was going to be moving. We'll see if that's still going to happen. That might have actually fallen through. I was going to be going to Dallas, but I'm not sure if I still will.
Oh, there's a lot of people in Dallas who just got their hopes up.
Didn't want to buy a hat. Yeah.
All hat, no cattle, right?
Well, what I was going to do there kind of fell through, so I might not be doing that.
Well, maybe you'll be doing this.
Going on.
We'd love to have you here on a regular basis.
Doing this.
Great.
Personally, I'm actually, I'll announce it on air here. I am getting married soon, and I am soon to be a father.
Oh, congratulations!
Whoa!
Yay, Yoshi! Wow, that's great. What's so? Can you tell us who the lucky lady is? Do you want to? Don't say her whole name. We don't want to expose her too quickly.
Carrie, yeah.
Carrie, that's great. Well, congratulations to you and Carrie.
She's been pretty much the best thing that's ever happened. So it's pretty cool.
Well, Yoshi, that's...
And everyone that's around me has told me that they've seen a visible change in me.
As all of us here will testify, there's nothing like a good woman to tame a bad man. I sound like a Johnny Cash song, doesn't it? Hey, I want to mention... I want to mention that Megan was going to...
Phil, I wanted to ask you a question.
I want to mention that Megan was going to join us. Megan Maroney, another a longtime friend of ours and a screensaver, and it is Mother's Day. Her mother's in town, so she couldn't make it, but she'll come in sometime soon. You know, she had twin boys a month ago, Huck and Milo, and they're just adorable.
She has to empty out her jumping monkeys. She has to empty out her jumping monkeys mailbox. They sent an email there and it bounced.
Oh, she's got quite a bit, I'm sure. Well, I had dinner with her on Friday night. She and her husband and the three kids. They had an instant family came over, and it was so great, and her mom too. And so she wishes you all the best. She's just doing great. She's very happy, and we expect to get her in here doing the show very soon. So that's good news too. So I think we got a pretty complete reunion here. We're working on it. There are a few people missing, and I've sent them all emails, but we might be able to kind of recreate the screensavers. I mean,
Yeah, I think one by one we'll drag them back in.
That show we used to do. Let's take some questions. We got a number.
You have to bleep that, Leo.
Bleep it. God damn it. Let's take. I got to bleep that too.
Gotta bleep that.
Never ending, and that too, and that. Here's a question from Brian for all of us. Listen up.
Hey guys, I was a ZDTV and TV fan since before day one. I originally found ZDTV when it was a test pattern on C-band on the old satellite C4. I noticed that over the course of time that basically things were, I hate to use the phrase dumbed down, but the content became a little more simplified, I guess. The caliber of questions that once were on Call for Help actually became more of the kind of questions that you had on the screensavers, and the really hardcore stuff that was on the screensavers sort of faded away and wasn't addressed. Was this a conscious decision, or was it just organic? And also, is there any chance of Martin Sargent showing up? I really miss Martin. And also Scott Harriet. Or heck, even Carmine Gallo.
Leo and I got dumber over time.
I think that's what happened. we didn't dumb the show down. We dumbed down. I don't think we intentionally did that. Did we? I don't think so.
Well, there was a...
They wanted to be more entertaining than just pure tech. They wanted to get away from the super hardcore geek side. They wanted to be a little more general.
That did happen, and that happened.
And that was a push all over the network.
Yeah. And I think a mistake. I mean, I think one of the things we're going to do with this podcast, we're not beholden to anybody, right? We can make it as geeky as we want, and I don't have any intention of, unless you guys do, of dumbing it down. I think we should just do what we're interested in, right?
Yeah, I say, why dumb it down? People want to hear the details.
Yeah, right.
They'd always write us the emails when they were there before saying, we want more info.
Right.
We'd have to email them back, giving them the info.
TV is, commercial TV is not a great medium.
I've been through many and many rounds of dumbing down.
Here's the king of dumb down. His IQ's now down about 20.
Down is right here.
Yeah, but look, I don't blame. I think that's normal. That's what broadcast television or cable television, commercial television does. It's aimed at the largest possible audience, and they assume that audience isn't too bright.
We need more celebrities.
Very true.
We need more.
No, we
TV
don't.
over IP.
Well, that's what's happening. That's what Kevin's working
Well, I
very
mean,
hard.
narrowcasting, it's going to... But that's what print media did back between the 20s and the 50s. You went from the Ladies' Home Journal to Flying Magazine to these special interest, tightly focused magazines. And between, 500 cable channels and Robert, totally right, IPTV, I think broadcast media is going to make that change. And, podcasting.
Well, I mean, that's the big thing. That's the big thing right now. It's like one of the main reasons I want to get into this space and really do this is that I want to be able to do the content that, I enjoy, which is the super geeky stuff where I can get in-depth as I want to, and I control it, and I control all of that, which is great.
Next year is going to be...
I love more backlash.
Yeah, next year's going to be...
one more step toward a la carte cable programming or content programming.
Right. It's what you were asking for, Robert.
Well, you have so much stuff on TV right now, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Well, out of DirecTV, you have, 400 and 500 channels. I have about 2 channels I'll watch.
Right.
I really don't watch much broadcast television.
I'm the same way.
It doesn't show me the information I want.
Well, and as somebody who's been in broadcasting now, it'll be 30 years in a couple of years. This is the most exciting development I've ever seen, because broadcasting was always some small group of people deciding what was going to happen, and if they controlled the transmitter or they controlled the presses, they decided. Well, now we all have presses and transmitters. We can all do what we want, and who gets to decide now? The audience gets to decide. I think that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll get off my high horse here.
Exactly. It gives the audience a chance to see that dorky, geeky Linux code across the screen that the producers would always scream about being on air too long.
No more Linux!
What are you doing?
That was the thing that blew me away. When I got to Canada, they said, more Linux. Can you do more Linux? I said, what? We want more Linux. I said, okay. Because it is a difference. This is the problem we're talking about is a U.S. problem primarily, although it's spreading everywhere, but it's more so in the United States. I mean, that we don't have the national channels that the government-funded channels. I mean, they got the BBC in Britain where they'll do the most of some of my favorite podcasts are from BBC Radio. Let's talk about Homer and the Aeneid and the impact of the Peloponnesian War on agriculture in 5th century B.C. And I love it. I don't know what they're talking about, but I love it. Hey, let's get another call.
Hey, guys, this is the man from IrvineUnderground.org. I just wanted to know, Patrick and Kevin, both of you have gone to DEF CON before, and I was wondering if you guys were going to podcast live from there, or not live, but if you were going to record the podcast and then post them from DEF CON 13.
When is DEF CON?
The last night to 31st.
Yeah.
Who's going to DEF CON?
I'm going. I'm there. Yoshi, you going?
I will be there.
Well,
I think
there's like stuff there for system.
Oh, good.
There's a 3-part. When's system going to launch? By the way, actually, we should answer this guy's question first.
Good question.
Sorry. Well, I think
when is DEF CON 13?
Well, DEF CON 13 is July, like Yoshi said, July 29th to 31st. But this guy's saying, are we going to podcast from there? I'll record stuff there, but I won't go on a network pretty much anywhere in Vegas, much less at DEF CON during that 3-day period.
You think now, really, don't you think, isn't there no honor among hackers? You think you'd actually get hacked?
Oh, they hacked they hacked Kevin Mitnick and posted his name on a wall. Basically, there's a network system inside the hotel, the resort, the Alexis Park, where DEF CON is held, right? And there's a pretty good high-speed broadband access there. And what happens is you have all these people scanning and running every attack possible on every operating system. And there's a few guys that basically sit. There's like a central area where you can like sit and lounge and meet and hang out with people. And they have a big overhead projector that aims at the wall, as they list as they basically rooted people's systems out and list their information up on the wall, and it just scrolls slowly up all day long.
That would be humiliating.
So I won't actually connect my system to the network. Certainly not there.
I'd even watch Bluetooth phones, whatever you're carrying with you that might happen to be vulnerable.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll set you up, Patrick, with a secure recording device that is not, and you can bring back the tapes, and we'll play them on the show. How about that?
I've figured out some places to sneak out to where it's far enough away that like nobody. It's far enough away from the Alexis Park where I feel safe. Right. But like I wouldn't even in any of the surrounding hotels. I wouldn't use any of their connections. People just.
Well, you're paranoid, Pat.
He really is.
Have you ever you see something sad? It's like you see some like I'm the biggest badass from insert town here. My systems are secure. I can take down any network. And he like plugs onto the Wi-Fi network at DEF CON, and you can just watch his system get nuked. And you'll see people in the hallways desperately typing on their screens, and you know they were like, "My system is secure," and it's like, well, guess what? You just learned something new, didn't you, Sparky? And my notebook stays in my bag.
Oh boy!
So now you're making me nervous about my hotel room.
Yeah, no kidding.
And well, if the hotel room is in walking distance of DEF CON, I would be.
All right. Well, we'll
we got to do this. If we're all going to be there at the same time, let's get together.
Let's do it.
We should.
All right.
We should have a meetup.
DEF CON. That's a good idea. A meetup. We'll send out for those of you who are subscribers. One of the things we do want to do is some meetups. We will send out an email to subscribers only that'll reveal the secret location of our DEF CON meetup.
Oh, I know the perfect location for the DEF CON one.
Oh, cool. All right, that'll be great. That'll be great. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it.
I know a good place too.
But you guys sound like you're going to have a good time, and you must bring recording devices. We'll get you some recording stuff, and you can do it. You can do the podcast there. That'd be really fun. That'd be really fun. All right, let me see. We got take time for one or two more questions here. This has been great. I tell you, it's wonderful to have you, Yoshi. And now that I have to say I'm not crazy about the TeamSpeak. I think the latency on this is kind of an issue. We'll have to look at some other things. Next week.
Well, actually, we should thank the guy whose TeamSpeak server we're using, because that was really cool of him to loan those to us.
Well, he's gone now, but we talked to him earlier. Mark Williamson, very nice of him. He's out of Austin. That might be one of the reasons that we have a little bit of lag, because we're all on the West Coast. But that was very nice of him. He's got a T1, and it shows that we can have more people. One of the things that TeamSpeak would allow us to do is take live calls, because you could log into the server and we could invite you in and ask your question and then kick you out. I like the idea of this. We're going to look at some other ways. We're going to look at Ventrilo. Maybe next week we'll use Ventrilo. We can compare and contrast. And then I'm going to work on a way to do it with Asterisk and see if we can do it a little bit better. Let's get another question in here, though, before we take off. This is John in Nashville.
Hey guys, this is Josh from Nashville. I just wanted to let you know it's great to have you all back together here again. And this podcast has really turned me on to podcasting in general. So in light of that, I'd like to ask all of you, what are some of your favorite podcasts, your favorite podcast software for receiving, and your favorite podcast software for producing? Because I'm planning on starting one when I go to college. Also, on a related note, what are some of your favorite MP3 players right now? Thanks, guys.
Okay, I hope you were taking notes. Let's see. All right. First, do any of you listen to podcasts, or is that kind of not something you guys do?
I do, actually.
What do you like, Patrick?
I'm just starting.
There's nothing other than the daily source. There's not a lot that I listen to particularly regularly. I kind of sample here and there because we've been basically for ExtremeIPod.com. We're starting to put up more podcast listings. I use iPodder. It's kind of like the original and the easy one.
Right.
Maybe it's because I'm too lazy to.
If you're going to use the BitTorrent feeds that we offer for this, or the Evil Genius Chronicles Dave Slusher uses, iPodder X is a better choice. It seems to work better with BitTorrent because it has it built in. I like iPodder X. I know Ray Slakansky. Pardon me, Ray. I never get your name right. Very nice guy, and he and August, who writes the interface, have done a really nice job. So that's my favorite, but there's a light version and a paid version. Doppler's pretty good on Windows. Again, doesn't do a very good job with BitTorrent. Have you listened, Patrick, to the IT Conversations? I think that's an amazing podcast.
No, check that one out.
There's a lot of them. I think they do it almost a dozen a week. But what it is a lot of it's conference panels and speeches and interviews and stuff, and it's just really high quality content. There's also .NET Radio, which is quite good. How about you, Kevin? You listen to podcasts, or is this not something you do? You probably don't have a lot of time to do that.
Not much, no, but I do have iPod X, and it's funny because they're even starting to work with video now, too, moving forward.
Right.
So that if there's videos that you're into, as long as they have the RSS enclosures, you'll be able to grab the video, even though if it's BitTorrent wrapped, too, it'll suck the BitTorrent, open it up, and then save it to your hard drive.
That's what I like about iPod X. It does that transparent.
Which is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Because you're going to have big files when you do system.
Yeah, they're going to be 200 to 300 megs.
But that's the beauty of this, is it goes on in the background. You don't really pay attention, and it's just there at some point. It just arrives.
Right. Exactly. One thing I subscribe to that feed, and then they don't ever have to worry about checking the website.
Right. One thing I don't like about
iPod X is iPod X is for OS 10 only.
Right now. One thing I don't like about it and any of these is that they leach. They don't leave the BitTorrent client open. I understand. I asked Ray about that, and he said, well, we don't want people to have stuff running on their system all the time that they don't know about, so we didn't feel right about it. But it would be nice if they would see it. I mean, the whole idea of BitTorrent is once you've got the file, leave your client open so that other people can get it as well. Robert, you listen to any podcasts?
Not really. I'd like to be able to find certain radio shows that I can't find. I got really hooked to a few radio shows, in particular down in Los Angeles, that aren't being broadcast up here, and I'm hoping that they would eventually move to a podcast format. Or there's always the P2P networks as well. But the third part of that question was about, was it flash-based MP3 players? And I have to say, iRiver makes my favorite. Just about anything they make.
You like the iRivers,
including as soon as they can come up with a 5 gig flash player, I'd buy it immediately. It's just the storage factor. It's hard to find them in gig size, let alone 2 or 3 gigs for flash storage. So
well, the iRivers tend. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I've tested 3 or 4 different models of iRiver, and it seems like it's all the same guts, but the implementation in the case and the screen display kind of varies all over the map. I'm also an iPod loyalist, so.
It was the FM tuner built into the iRiver products that really sold it, because I love listening to radio and built-in voice recorder and just the shape of it. That kind of
you actually use the voice recorder
triangle.
Right.
I use it mostly on my cell phone. My cell phone has one built into it, so I use that more often than I use anything else.
I think Adam Curry's using the iRiver voice recorder sometimes to do his podcast, as I remember. So, I mean, the quality is pretty good. Well, if you have a good mic, I think the quality is actually pretty good. That's one downside of the iPod. Even if you get the Belkin, or rather the Griffin iMic, the iPod won't let you record it better than 8-bit recording unless you put Linux on it, in which case, why'd you get an iPod?
That and the lack of an FM tuner.
I don't know. I don't mind
listen to the radio once in a while.
I don't mind that. That's why I have one shuffle. Yeah. I have a gigabyte shuffle that's dedicated to podcasts. It's all talk, and I don't know.
Howard Stern in the morning.
There's some really, what I like about podcasting. There's some interesting, innovative stuff happening, which you wouldn't see in mainstream media, and I just like that. And I don't think we could get this show on a regular radio station.
That and the whole lack of censorship, too, which is, always refreshing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it'll be very interesting to hear Howard on satellite when nobody's telling him what not to do.
Oh, my. Here's a folder he's saving up of things he hasn't been able to do. And at least the first couple of days should be pretty amazing.
I don't know how Sirius is going to do it, though. How can they pay for Howard Stern? They're going to have to get, I think they said, what did they say, another 10 million subscribers or something to pay for him. $500 million a year.
Well, they need a huge number of subscribers.
Yeah. $500 million for 5-year contract? Not bad.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. What is it?
He's making pretty serious bank now, Leo.
Well, that's true. That's true. But he's doing it with a much larger audience. That's the difference.
Sirius is betting that they're going to be able to pick up a large portion of that audience. Right. And the players, by the time he gets on air, the players are going to be incredibly cheap. The subscription's already not that bad.
Right.
It's going to be one of the most popular Christmas presents this year.
Yoshi, do you listen to podcasts at all?
Sell this year,
honestly, I don't really listen to them that much.
How about an MP3 player?
What's to kind of get into it another. Well, my thing, I agree with Robert on the FM tuner, because for MP3 players, for me, the only time I listen to an MP3 player is if I'm on foot. If I'm in the car, I have MP3 in my car stereo. At home, I have MP3 in my home stereo. My computers all networked together. Right. So the iPod is just about me being on foot. So if I'm on foot, like out, if I want to go down to the beach or I'm out jogging or walking around or whatever, maybe I might want to listen to the radio to see what's up.
Right. I live on the iPod. I mean, with all the airplane travel I do and everything, I have books on there. I have music on there. I have podcasts on there. It's my audio entertainment center. Maybe because I've been radio so long, I like audio, and it does the job for me.
Yeah, as
I was playing in Vegas over a couple of weeks back. Everyone I knew who had an iPod had an FM tuner, and the new thing is either if the radio in the hotel room has an input, cool, use that. But if not, just throw the FM tuner right there.
Right.
Tune in the cheesy clock radio, and you can listen to whatever music you want. Right. It's just little things like that. You suddenly see it creeping in everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's neat.
It's everywhere. Guys, I want to thank you for your time. Once again, a lot of fun. The officially named This Week in Tech TWiT. We've had a great time. Yoshi, thanks for being here. Please come back next week.
Oh, definitely. Now that I got the settings all figured out, I'll definitely be back.
Oh, we're not going to use TeamSpeak next week. Didn't I tell you? We're going to try Ventrilo.
I have my server here in California. We can try it on.
I want to try
mess with it during the week.
I want to try Ventrilo. You're going to do Ventrilo, Robert, with us? All right, we'll try that next week. And
I have Ventrilo and TeamSpeak on the same server, so
okay,
either one we want to try.
Let's try Ventrilo. Although I have to say I like a lot. There's a lot to like about TeamSpeak. The lag is just killing us on this. I'm going to have to spend an hour editing out the gaps. Thank God for Adobe Audition.
Gotcha.
Robert Heron, it's a pleasure. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Kevin Rose, when's System coming out? When?
That's a good question. We just got the audio pretty much almost nailed down now, so hopefully within the next week to 2 weeks. So we'll put a little countdown ticker on my website in the next few days. So
please log into TWiT.tv.
We're having a big launch party.
Please log. Oh, are you great? Please.
When's the launch party?
It'll be. I'm gonna put up a little Java little ticker at the website, and then it'll be a countdown. We're gonna have a live cam. We're gonna invite a bunch of people over to my house, and you they'll kind of watch that party.
When's the launch party?
Launch party's at Kevin.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know the exact launch date. So.
Oh man.
Launch in the next week to 2 weeks.
Launch party at Kevin's, dudes. Well, please go to TWiT.tv and log in there, Kevin. You've got, and everybody gets a blog there. All the TWiTs have a blog, so you can put up some information there too, and point back to. I know KevinRose.com is your main site.
Nice.
Point back to that and let us know. Keep us up to date on what's going on the. You can put a counter if you want. You put a counter on TWiT.tv too. That'd be fine. That'd be okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna start using that. We all have to start using that.
Yeah, I mean it's just for the TWiTcast, but it's a central location where people can find out more. If you want to you like that TWiTcast?
Did you just say TWiTcast?
That's it. Forget podcast. The future of radio is TWiTcast.
The TWiTcast.
It is a TWiTcast. What do you think? I'm so glad that you were here, Patrick and Kevin Rose too, and we do thank and congratulate our 1,000th subscriber this week. Less than a week in, we have over 1,000 subscribers. There's Joseph Jan of San Diego. He's our 1,000th, and he is going to win a great Bithead amp from Headroom, the great folks at Headphone.com. That's a great prize. We thank Headroom and Headphone.com for that. Darren Dewey did the music for this week's TWiTcast. Nice job, Darren. We appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed. ThisWeekinTech.com is the website. Podcast feeds are listed there. Just click the link on podcast info. What else can I tell you? Oh, yeah. Questions. Send them. When you start the question, start with your name and location so we know who you are. And you can email that to questions@thisweekintech.com. Logo ideas. We're still looking for them. We'll have logo winners sometime soon. We'll come up with some good prizes for you. That's logos@thisweekintech.com. I know I was going to announce the winner of our name contest this week, but I was bad. I didn't get through. There's so many entries. I haven't gotten through them all yet, so we'll just have to defer it. Patrick, that box of crap is growing, though, right?
Yes, it's going to be magnificent.
By the time we award that box of crap, it's going to be...
have to bleep that out, Leo.
It's going to be too big to mail.
It's going to have to be drop shipped to somebody with a ramp.
A truck is going to show up at your door. You're going to be so sorry you played this game with us. Thank you so much.
Remember Patrick's cubicle?
Oh, yeah. We should just deliver a replica of Patrick's cubicle to your door.
Oh, my God. It was so full of crap.
You couldn't get in there. At one point, he had crime scene tape across.
I couldn't have pee stains in my cubicle.
Who had pee stains in his cubicle? Who?
I like my tea.
Not T.
T. With
That's in bed. I don't
on that note, I'll tell you, that's great. All right, hey, thanks everybody. I think I've recorded everything. If not, I'll call you back. We'll do it all over again. No, I'm just kidding. No, I got it. I recorded it in 2 different ways, so I think we have a TWiTcast.
Where's the bachelor party?
Yeah.
Where's the bachelor party?
That you
were arriving the day before, so
I have suggestions. Yoshi, you're the 5th friend of mine who's getting married this year. What's going on this year, folks? It's 5.
I don't know.
It's your age, Robert.
That happens.
Yeah, it's your age, and at my age, people start dying, Robert. So it's good. You enjoy this because it's.
I'm enjoying the bachelor party. I think that's what's aging people. Stripper glitter.
Honey, what is this on you? Is this glitter I see? All right, guys. See you later.
Everyone's sparkles.
They'll give you away,
guys.